Hi love hearts, it's been so long. I cannot believe that it's been such a long time since I sat in front of a camera and made a video. It feels quite an odd experience actually, setting the camera up and stuff. I feel really weird because it's just I'm so out of practice, it's been so long. For which I can only apologise. January was a hell of a month, very, very interesting, very varied, very high octane, go, go, go. I mean, it's just been absolutely insane, in all fairness. I've moved house. Danny and I have moved in with two of our closest friends and their lovely cat, so I'm in a completely different living situation now, and that's a big part of the reason why no videos for such a long time, because unfortunately also around the time we decided to move, Danny broke his arm. Aside from being worried about him and trying to help him to heal from that, I've also been cooking all of the meals, doing all of the washing up and packing everything to move it to the new house. So, you know, kind of the universe interestingly conspired to make the dance just that little bit more interesting, which I can only say a great big thank you for. Thank you, not fuck you. You've really got to, you've got to see the good in the bad. You've got to see the lesson in the challenge. And that's what I've been doing. So that's been an interesting thing. My January sale was incredibly successful. I feel so blessed because my word for 2015, my real focus, my theme word, my power word, if you will, is abundance. And actually in the first month of 2015, I feel like I had abundance in just so many different ways. However, I have realised that I've come to a point in my work and on my journey as a spiritual counsellor where I need to actually rein in the amount that I am able to sell and the amount of people that I am able to work with per month, because this January sale was absolutely off the scale. I mean, I made a week's worth of orders in just under 24 hours, and then I thought that was a fluke, and then the same thing happened the next day and I was like, okay, I need to shut the shop. And I had to have some dialogue with some clients about it and say, you know, it's been completely unprecedented, but I will get to you. And I want to have full disclosure about that. I want to be upfront about it because I know that the vast majority of people who work with me find me through my YouTube videos, and quite often when I do work with new people, they say, you know, I discovered you through YouTube and your videos have been really helpful to me. So I want to be completely honest about some of the changes that are being made and why they're being made. I think quite a few of you already know that I'm planning to move from the Etsy platform this year anyway at some point. But for now, I'm still on Etsy. The only thing that's happened is that I have made some changes to what is available. So when I first kind of came onto Etsy and when I first started selling readings, I was really concerned with showing people what I could do. I wanted to show people how much choice there was available, how much possibility there is with tarot as a modality. And so I became kind of known as the girl with 1,000,001 different options on the shop, you know. So I had like the self-love reading and the path to recovery reading, work and career reading, business kickstart reading, all these different options, which I designed spreads for. And that was a really fun time, and I definitely wouldn't take that time back. I don't regret it in any way, and it made sense for that point in my career. However, now I think I'm getting to the stage where people are very aware of what I do. They are aware of how I use tarot. They are completely kind of switched on to the fact that if they were coming to me for a reading, it would be because I'm kind of like a psycho-spiritual crusader of sorts. I like to mix psychology with spirituality. So I don't think I actually need to have such a visual representation of everything that I can offer with tarot now. I think it's far more important to scale the options down, cut everything right back, and just make everything completely customizable. So now instead of seeing like 5 pages of options, if you go to the shop you will see a full-length custom reading, a mini custom reading, and then maybe some other options depending on how I feel, like maybe the goddess guidance reading will make an appearance semi-regularly because I know that a lot of people like the goddess guidance reading. And I'll have themed readings maybe for each point on the wheel of the year because I really like to do that. But there aren't going to be these masses of options. If you were to book a full-length custom reading from me, I would design it to your specifications. So there's really no need for you to trawl through all of these pages of options to decide what you want. And that will cut back on work for me too, because I do have to enter into a dialogue with people quite often about what is required for them because they are overwhelmed by the choice, and it was a really overwhelming amount of choice. I do think it's very business savvy to have choices and to have kind of signature readings that you do, but I think at this point on my own journey, it's pretty obvious that I design full length custom spreads, and I design them to be tailored to the focus areas and the needs of my clients. So everything's kind of becoming very simplified. I'm also going to allow people to purchase either a Skype tarot reading or a email tarot reading. So from now on, the option will be, it'll be kind of a drop down situation, and you will be able to book a live reading with me if you choose to do so. And that kind of works like an interactive counselling session of sorts, but obviously with me interpreting the cards and kind of posing questions and challenges to you based on what the cards represent. So you'll be able to book a Skype reading with me if you would prefer that to an email reading, and they'll be the same price. It will just be a case of hitting the drop down and selecting Skype if you want Skype, and then we'll talk times and I'll give you my available times. I feel incredibly blessed that so many people feel called to work with me at this point, and I think, you know, it's something that I have been moving towards and believing in and really kind of giving myself to for a long time now, and it's really nice to know that the work is appreciated and that people do feel that they can connect with me and connect with what I'm trying to do, with or without the cards, on that level, because it is so important to me and it is my life's work. It is my magnum opus. It is, you know, the great work of what it is to be me in the centre of my life. So it's really nice that that's being responded to, and that there is that kind of energetic reciprocity there. That means so much to me, and long may it continue. And I'm so excited for this year, and it really started off with such a profound kind of kick in the pants for me. You know, it really was kind of, I had all of this enthusiasm and this energetic build up that just wanted a release, and then it was almost like the universe was like, okay, well, can you handle this? And I was like, oh my god and goddess and the moon and the stars and all the rest of it, cosmos, what the hell, this is just crazy. And I had to go with it, I had to run with it. And I think one of the things that I try and teach people more often than not is cognitive flexibility, seeing the good in the bad, seeing the order in chaos, seeing the positive in the negative, and actually gleaning, reaping, extrapolating those lessons, you know, extracting them and really putting them into being, making them work for you, and recognising that there is always an aspect of choice. And really just standing in your power is such a huge part of my message and what I try to do with my work. So to be able to actually bring those lessons back to self and see how far I have evolved as a result of kind of trying to offer this wisdom and package this wisdom for people and help them to do it in their own lives, to see the evidence of how much I've grown and how much I was able to do it in my own life against such mammoth odds, and with only so many hours in the day, and you know, with kind of only so much sanity left to grasp at the end. It was amazing to watch myself be so positive in the face of such challenges, and I love it when that happens. And that's why I'm always so grateful when things start to deviate massively from the plan, massively from the selected route on the sat nav of your life, and you think, I don't know where the hell I am, but this is a chance now to show myself just exactly how much I have evolved and developed spiritually. You know, I need to get back to centre and decide upon a strategy and get right with myself. And it's just amazing to be able to witness myself doing that, and also to continue to witness clients do that on a daily basis. It's just magical, and I don't think I could be happier than I am in this moment. Even though there's still a lot of things to work out, and I'm certainly by no means exactly where I envision myself being for 2015. It's not like everything's happened in this one opening month, but so much has happened to allow me to prove to myself that I am aware of my strong foundation, that I am with myself 100%, I'm an ally to myself, I'm a friend to myself, and that's a big part of what I teach. So I just hope that that is coming across, and that, you know, so many more of you this year will step into your power. It's so important. Here is a little tip for any of you who found yourself in a similar situation to my situation, a situation in which the first month of the year did not go according to plan. Like, all of these insane challenges that you could never have foreseen really were thrust upon you, and you had to kind of ride the wave of chaos. When you look back over the month and you review it, Don't look at what you didn't achieve or what you thought that was going to happen that didn't come to pass. Literally just think about the sheer amount of cognitive flexibility that you had to display to get through those challenging times. Take a look at the amount of times you had to rewrite the narrative or reframe the situation in order to get through. And that is the sense of accomplishment. That is what you have achieved. I'm going through the Leonie Dawson Life and Biz workbook, and tonight I'm going to do my review of the month of January. And you know what, I'm just going to write across the little segment where you're supposed to write what you achieved in January. I'm just going to write the words cognitive flexibility, being able to look at something in a different way, knowing that I am not a victim of circumstance. I'm more likely to be a victim of my thoughts and the negative cycles, those cognitive distortions that can be permitted to play on repeat indefinitely if you don't become conscious of them, if you don't grasp them and rewrite your narrative each time. And the amount of cognitive flexibility that I've had to show in the month of January has been off the charts. And that's what I'm going to congratulate myself for. That's what I'm going to see myself as having achieved. And I urge you to do the same. You know, if plans did go awry, if you kind of did end up a long way from where your sat nav kind of said you were going to end up, and you feel a little bit overwhelmed and out of sorts and like, wow, that wasn't the January that I envisioned at all, you know, so much stuff happened that I couldn't have foreseen, then I would urge you to just, when you do your review of the month, really just allow yourself to understand that cognitive flexibility that you had to show, that power that you had to show, that sense of knowing who you are and how to get through challenges on your own terms and in your own way, that's what you can congratulate yourself for. That is your achievement, and that is worth a round of applause for yourself. That is worth being mesmerised and standing in awe of yourself and what you've managed to do. I really hope that so many more people find their sense of spiritual autonomy this year. And I've been writing a lot about my own views on this and about how people actually reach a sense of spiritual freedom, a sense of entitlement to build their own practice from the ground up, a sense of entitlement to let go of what wasn't working for them in their spiritual conditioning, in their family setup, whether their family were atheists, whether their family were a little bit half and half, whether they were raised by fundamentalist Christians. You know, it's really important, I feel, on the journey of adulthood to know that your relationship with the divine, within and without, is your own. It's yours to carve. It's yours to have as you wish it to be. And that's been such a great gift for me in my life. You know, I think my life by no means was perfect as I was growing up. There were difficulties, and I could list them for you. But one thing that went right is that neither of my parents foisted an idea of divinity onto me. It was a completely open pathway. It was an open doorway I was permitted to step through and taste what I wanted, touch what I wanted, see what I was interested in. And I did have spiritual influences. You know, on my father's side of the family, they were Irish Catholics, and I did get the chance to go to mass with my nana and light candles and genuflect and all of that good stuff. So I had this sense that God was the centre of certain people's lives, but I also had this sense that neither of my parents were really interested in the divine, and were both pretty much atheist as I was growing up. So I had kind of an awareness of the spectrum when it comes to having God in your life, from devout, I think about it every day, first thing when I wake up, right the way through to I never really think about it, and I think when you die it goes dark, and that's it. So I had that spectrum, and I was exposed to that spectrum, but what I was not exposed to is any sense of dogma or any sense of this is the correct way and this is how you should think. And neither of my parents ever said anything definitive to me about God. They never gave me anything that I could presume to be hard and fast facts about divinity. It really was a case of, you know, it's your journey, and you've got to go along on that journey and find your own way. And so what always breaks my heart, and what always makes me want to reach out in a kind of very Queen of Cups centred way, is talking to people and emailing with people and having consultations with people who are trying to stand in their sense of spiritual autonomy and are finding it really difficult. They're finding that they have lots of leftovers from when they were kids. You know, they still worry about going to hell, even though they know on an intellectual level that there's no way that one could prove that hell really exists, and that it's one of just a myriad of theological possibilities and fables and parables that have come along over the millennia. There's still somewhere in them emotionally, some part of their heart, which is, you know, fried out like burnt bacon. You know, they really think they're going to go to hell, and that part of their heart needs healing. And it really inspires me and illuminates me and lifts me up. It elevates me to see people trying to kind of cleanse their mind and cleanse their soul of everything that went before, and to begin from square one, that holy root that goes right down to the centre of the earth, that moment, that point in time, that point in the soul where they know that the relationship with divinity is just them and the divine. There is nothing else. There is no institution, there is no opinion, there is no dogma that can make or break your relationship with God, except the opinion and dogma and institution or organisation or individual that you allow to break that relationship with God. You know, really, when all's said and done, when you strip it back, you know that your mind has just been kind of awash with different people's ideas and different people's belief structures. And actually, really, what they were trying to do when they foisted that crap on you was they were trying to convince themselves of it. To have a relationship with the divine and to have a sense of spiritual practice which is strong and which is really rooted in authenticity and beauty and meaning is such a big part of my life, and it's something that I believe everybody is entitled to. I believe that everybody is entitled to find their own way, to find their own connection with what they believe to be spiritual meaning, with what they believe to be deity, with what they believe to be the divine, the source, the prime mover. And I'm inspired when I watch people attempting to kind of cut themselves out of the tangled blankets of other people's belief structures and actually come to find something that works for them. And I wish to hold people's hands through that, because I just think it's so important. And when you get to a point in your life where you have that strong, nurtured, nutritious and delicious spiritual practice which really has the blood pumping through its veins, you know, it really has a skeletal system, a system of muscles, a sense that it's moving, that it's alive, that it's legitimate, that it's beautiful. That is such a key part of life. It can be such a key part of life, and it can be so nurturing and so kind of, God, majestic. It's majestic. And I believe that everybody's entitled to that. And I know that it's very hard for some people to get to when they're battling with so much conditioning, so many layers of conditioning plastered one on top of another, so much programming, so many other people's belief structures foisted upon them over such a large amount of time. And when they have that moment of clarity and they realise that it's not really what they believe, that there's something else calling them, that they have a different sense of what God really means, it can be scary, and it can feel like, where the hell do I start? And it can be very tangled, very complex, and very emotionally overwhelming. And there's a lot of guilt involved, you know. There's guilt towards your family members, feeling that you've rejected the beliefs that they gave to you. There's worry about telling people and exposing yourself in that way. And there's also just a feeling of not knowing how to really build your practice. In fact, I don't know how many of you watch Anya Olga, but go over to her channel, because she's talking about building your own practice at the moment. She's doing a series on it, so go over to her channel, I'll link it below, and have a look at what she's talking about, because really so many people that I've come across since I started my journey with the Four Queens are struggling with developing a sense of true spiritual empowerment and feeling that they're entitled to have their own practice and run their spiritual shit in the way they see fit. And, you know, the more people do that, the more people emancipate themselves from the past and give themselves willingly to what they feel about the divine in the present. The more people do that, then the more fairies get their wings and angels get their halos. And I just, you know, it's just beautiful. The universe expands when you have a relationship with God that's meaningful for you and feels right for you. And the more people can do that in 2015, and the more people I can help to do that in 2015, I really think the better. If you're wondering where to start, and you know that you want spiritual autonomy, but you're not sure how to begin, you know, what the first step is going to be to build your practice, build your belief system, get right with what you really feel and what feels divine for you, first of all, I would say listen to your heart, listen to the stirrings of your heart. If you get a feeling when you climb to the top of a mountain, or you walk through a forest and you touch an exposed tree root, if you get a feeling from that you never got while you were singing in a choir in church, then listen to that stirring, listen to that transpersonal stirring. if you get feelings from certain sacred texts or from certain symbols or from certain archetypes, certain images of deity, certain locations, certain kinds of weather, certain times of day or night, certain times of music, kinds of music, you know, all of these things. Check out poetry, see what's working for you there. Look at paintings. Where do you get that sense of connection to something bigger? Where does it stem from for you? Where is that source? Where does the water begin to flow in that way? Listen to those stirrings, you know, that's all you can do. When people are moved to devotion, then that, the moment itself, is holy, where you become intertwined with your sense of yourself as Godhead. That's holy, that's the fucking holy moment, that's what you're after, right? So listen to your heart, don't cut that off, don't listen to your head, don't listen to, you know, conditioning from the past, etc. Let your heart cleanse whatever your head needs to get rid of, whatever is filthy, whatever window panes in there need to be wiped clean. Let the heart do that. The heart will sing when it is connected to devotion. When I read Rumi, I know that when he was writing about God, he was hooked up to that machine of devotion and the words and the majesty of divinity. As he wrote those words and he felt the majesty of divinity, it was like some kind of mechanism. It was a perfectly well-oiled divine machine. And when you feel devotion, that's what it should feel like. It should feel like you're swept up into it, like you're so much one with it that you don't know where you end and it begins. And that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. So let your heart do that for you. Find out what feels transpersonal to you, what feels bigger to you, what makes you feel connected to that big thing, what makes you wash away on the wave of that big thing, that tide of cosmos, you know, and give yourself to that. Give yourself to that. It will never ever fail you. The other thing I want to mention, if you are struggling to really stand in your power and own your spiritual autonomy, is there is no one truth. I mean, who knows the truth about God? Come on, come on. Like that pastor guy that told you that you were going to go to hell if you swore in the playground. He knows the truth about God, does he? He, out of everyone in this big wide world, he, out of every living thing in this galaxy and beyond, he knows the truth, does he, about Godhead? No, they're just ideas. They're all just ideas. They're all just concepts. They're all just guises, you know. We each feel that primal beat of something bigger, something beyond, which we're all connected into. But we take that primal beat and we dress it up in our own guises, in our own cultural associations. We dress it up in our own biases, with our own fears, with our own hang-ups and insecurities sometimes too. We make glorious art to celebrate it and we dance to celebrate it, but we also judge in celebration of it, and we also rip each other down. We also hate on each other. You know, there are people right now that are claiming to know the one overarching truth about God, and at the same time they're claiming that gay people should be stoned to death. I mean, come on, no one knows the truth. No one knows the truth. You have to find what's true to you. And don't worry about what's going to happen after you die, you know. You will waste this glorious moment worrying about whether or not God is going to meet you at the pearly gates and send you directly to hell when you die. You don't know, and neither does that, you know, vicar or pastor or, you know, spiritual guide that your parents were listening to, you know. Neither does anyone, nor does anyone. It's about basically getting right with what devotion feels like for you and the truth that applies to you. And so really you're starting from the same starting point that absolutely everybody else starts from. You're really just pushing everything back, pushing those layers of conditioning back and social programming back, and just sitting with your sense of what devotion feels like to you. And, you know, we're all very different and everyone's going to have their own ideas. But I'll tell you what, when I'm in a state of devotion, I feel it. I feel it with every bone in my body. It fills me up. It fills me up, and you deserve to have that too. You really do. Oh, I'm getting teary for the first time on the channel. Like, first time in 2 years, and I'm like, oh, is it 2 years? It's a long time. You deserve it. You deserve to have it. It's so beautiful. It's matchless. It's matchless. It's fucking incomparable. And if you don't get it within the four walls of a church, or you don't get it the way your parents got it, or you don't receive it in the sacred text that your parents gave you to read, if you don't find it where other people in your town or city find it, if you need to go a different way and do a different thing, if there is some path that is calling to you and it looks winding and weird and nobody that you know has been down it before, but it's calling to you, please take that first step, get onto that path. You know, I want this year to be a year of devotion and transpersonal experience for as many of us as humanly possible. And now I have to go hook up with my matron because I'm just really feeling it. Oh God, and it's really divine feminine right now for me, so I need to go hang out with the Norse goddess of the underworld. We're going to have a cup of tea together, and I will speak to you guys very, very soon. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for waiting on me and on this video. I'm sorry that it was garbled and was a mishmash of different stuff, but I hope that you will forgive me and appreciate anyway just seeing me, because I've really, really appreciated being on the channel again and being with all of you again, and long may it continue, and very much love, blessed be.